Live?
Not live this time. Not live. Definitely not live.
Unfiltered. The Unfiltered Lego podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Something like that. Hey, man. Good to see you on this evening. You had yourself a long day here. We embraced.
Zach, it's a long life, by the way. It's a long life, not just a long day. Long life.
We embraced election day on your channel today, and we voted. The people spoke, and they chose the new Mario game to play on your channel, which I think is kind of like, honestly, it's one of the cool things that you do on your live channel over on Twitch is that you engage with the audience, you play games with their audience and whatnot. And I don't do that.
Well, that could make you smarter than me because, I get to play Mario Party with two people while everybody else watches instead of doing something that, everybody could have a say and be actively part of. So, maybe you're wiser than me. But just like with America, we live in a democracy in which we let the people vote and the people vote in. And so it was. And it could have been Oregon Trail. Could have died of dysentery. Not this time. Maybe 4 years from now. Who knows?
That would have been a really short stream.
It would have been. It would have been great. I could have just taken another nap.
I honestly haven't played the video game version of that game. Well, I mean, like, since it was an MS-DOS whatever game back when I was a kid, and it was I don't know why we ever played that game. Like, we just sit down and we just within 5 minutes you die of dysentery and you start over. Like, what even is this game? I don't get. Is that happening in this game at all?
I played it years ago. Well, no, you don't die of dysentery in Mario Party, but I played
Oregon Trail.
Well, there's a newer version, and I bought it. I also played, I believe, the original Oregon Trail a couple years ago, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of people got into it, and that's where this lore about my wife, Brenda, was cheating on me with the guy at the smoothie stand in one of the forts and whatever. So, we played into it a little bit, but maybe next time.
Nice. We do have a packed show for you guys this week, even though we are not live. We are normally live on YouTube on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, at least for the rest of 2024, that is. Future updates to come. But you can also find us always on all of the podcast channels, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So you can do all of those things. You can find us there, or you can come find the shows even when we are live. You can find them posted later on here on YouTube and engage with the show that way. We want to hear comments. We want to, hear your critiques about the show. And even if there are other topics down the road that you guys want us to, possibly use in the show, let us know. Put it in the comments and let us know. I feel like this one could be fun. This whole lineup of information on this show could be fun because I'm hoping that this could just garner some conversation in the comments here. So I'm really hoping to see what people come up with. But we do have some news and notes to get through, Mr. Bricks O'Brien, before we get moving, because we've had some stuff break. I feel like we're gonna check the big board, right? It's like we're on a news.
They called Massachusetts. We're in favor of the expansion. We're in favor.
We're in favor of the expansion. Yeah, I feel like
voted yes on the expansion.
We're calling this Lego set for Bricks O'Brien this week. But we do have some breaking news for everything. We did get new sets dropped by Lego to welcome in. They kind of like just snuck them in there too. Like, we saw a few land members pop up with this information and then it hit the Lego website. But we got the official announcements of the Marvel Captain America Brave New World sets being released, and they look good. It's okay. It's Marvel play sets and stuff like that to get you excited about the movie and everything. It's like, okay, there's brickheads in there that I'm going to be wanting to collect and things like that because I'm a weirdo, but nothing too crazy, nothing too exciting. And I feel like that's kind of my vibe with the overall hype for this movie. I don't know how you feel about Captain America, the Brave New World, but this movie feels very like nobody's talking about it.
I very much enjoyed the Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier series, and of all of the Marvel things that have gotten a trilogy, Captain America is one of the better ones, and having a full legacy of the character all the way through all of the movies is great. So I'm a fan of Anthony Mackie as Captain America in general. I like the idea of him sporting the red, white, and blue with the wings and whatever. I think people are less invested in this because this happened on a Disney Plus show that was also during lockdown. And this is during this time where Disney Plus Marvel has not resonated the way that they had, foretold. So I think we're kind of seeing that now play out with the movie. I think the movie's going to try to course correct a ton, but I don't know if people are going to give it the shot that they deserve. But I think it's really ironic that in the Marvel world, there's all this contention about Anthony Mackie being a Captain America and people giving flack like, you're not Steve Rogers, or you're not blah blah blah. And now you're also seeing that in real life, like, oh, you're not Chris Evans. Like, it's the whole point, dude. This whole message of the movie is like having somebody fill his shoes and being of a different skin color. And how do you live up to his? It's literally verbatim what the movie is about, dude. Like, right. How do you not realize that? And I think that's a super interesting take and makes the character more dynamic than just like, oh, we pumped him full of serum back in the 40s and now here we go, right? It's a modern take on the character. So that has me excited about it in general. The sets, don't care about the buildable figure at all.
No.
Not even a little bit. No. And then, you have an overpriced set that justifies you getting the main character and you get Red Hulk. So, you get all four, what we can tell right now, all four characters that are going to be mains in the movie. So, it's worth it to get the minifigures. You take that ship that's probably not going to be relevant. You toss it in your Lego take back order and get your $5 back on it. It's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. And really what these sets are doing for Marvel fanatics more than anything is everybody scrutinizing them, just peeling them back and tearing them apart with fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out, information about the film itself, right? Like trying to figure it, because the comic book fans out there, they're all like, what's the problem? Falcon became Captain America. I mean, I loved the way they did it. They left you guessing there at the end of Endgame, like which way they were going to go, right? Because both Bucky and Falcon both were Captain America at some point, took up the mantle at some point, right, in the comics. So they left you kind of guessing on purpose which one was going to be. And then even though they settled on Falcon, then it became this whole like, wait, is they give you the show and then it's like, he's not wanting to embrace that. Or
I think it's a more interesting character if you have Sam Wilson become Captain America over, Winter Soldier. And now you don't get Thunderbolts in the same way if Bucky is Captain America. Yeah. So I feel like once people see all of it kind of come together, you're like, all right, would we have done without Thunderbolts in order to get this? To me is the best reality given where I'm sure Chris Evans was with his contract and how the whole story's played out. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Yeah. But that's not all we have for movie news coming out of Lego. Lego has partnered up with Universal Studios to produce 4 new live action, whatever that means, films. And they're engaging with filmmakers like Jake Kasdan of Jumanji and Jumanji 1, Jumanji 2, and of all weird films, Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, which I love. The Dewey Cox soundtrack is one of like my favorite film soundtracks of all time. It's so good because it hits so many different eras of music. It's so good. But then also Patty Jenkins moving over from Warner Brothers to Universal now to start making films over there. I mean, take it or leave it. I don't know. Listen, Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman, the first one was okay. I didn't go gaga over it like some people did. Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 1984 was a dumpster fire of a movie. Changed my mind. Okay. And the Lego set associated with that was also a dumpster fire of a Lego set. Like, changed my mind. Right. So her being associated with more Lego related stuff has got me not even remotely interested. Her Rogue One, or not Rogue One. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Red 5. Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron. Yeah, I couldn't think of what it was called. Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, one of those.
Defunct film has bummed me out completely. And whatever. I mean, I'll take, Patty, I'll take it. Like, prove me wrong, Patty. Prove me wrong. Prove me that you can still make, quality content, right? And then we have an interesting name pop up there, also Joe Cornish, who I only know from his cult classic Attack the Block, which another Star Wars reference there had John Boyega in it. And I love that movie. That movie is dope. Nobody went to go see that movie in the theater. Like, it was kind of like, it had a following kind of in the theatrical release, but really found its following on video and, streaming release afterwards. So he has the ability to write and direct cool content. I'm just curious to see what he does with the Lego movie. But what is it? What do they mean with live action Lego movie? What does that mean?
I think I heard them talk about how they're going to do a Ninjago movie that's live action, meaning potentially you have humanoid versions of the characters being in the movie, which I don't know. That comes off very, 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 very 2005 adaptation of a intellectual property.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I don't know if I like that. I'm also not a Ninjago fan, so I can't really speak on it at all.
And Ninjago fans are like, man, they serious.
They love everything, dude. You could give them.
But can you do them wrong though with doing like a live action like that and being kind of changing up the format?
I think with the Ninjago movie, there were some missteps that they took that I believe reflected poorly from a hardcore Ninjago audience. And that movie was only for the Lego Ninjago audience. It was not like the Lego Batman movie or Lego Movie 1 and 2, where we're kind of casting a wider net. Mom and dad aren't going to go to that movie looking to get, an experience out of it, right? Like, and by the way, with that Lego Batman movie, that was the only good DC movie to come out at the time, arguably up until this day. Like, it is a great DC movie. So, you had that aspect. I think there's definitely a way you can do them dirty with this newest Ninjago rendition. Live action, I would not be a fan of it if it were like, the characters as humans playing the elemental blah blah. I'm not. No. I'm all set. What's
interesting is that Lord and Miller must still be under contract with Warner Brothers or something, because they didn't move over. So Lego, they jumped from Warner Brothers, right? And now they're with Universal. And I feel like Lord Miller, the brainchildren behind the Lego movie, the original one, where when they announced they're making a Lego movie, everybody's like, wait, huh? What? Huh? How's this going to work? And then they made it, and you're like, you're loving it. And then all of a sudden they have the big twist that there is live action in it. And I
think that's what they mean. I hope that's what they mean. I don't think you can do it any other way that would make sense for the fan base and what people would want out of it at all.
And they nailed it with that. Like that first Lego movie was, I mean, both Lego movies were great, but that first one was a trendsetter, and
the second movie I didn't like, and we can talk what we're going to do eventually. What I want to do eventually is the Lego movies in review. And my short opinion of Lego Movie 2 is that if you had a sibling of any kind, you really love it. And if you don't, you really don't like it. So I do not really like it at all. It being a musical, being portrayed by the younger sister. I'm like, I hate this. But other people clearly liked it. But I think the sales of the sets also reflected it not resonating. Anyways, you got cocky. You got cocky with them. A lot of those sets were on sale immediately afterward because they were also very pricey too. So anyways.
Which I love those sets, and I have a new one sitting right over here thanks to you that I'm very, very, very excited about.
Yes, like there's some cool stuff. Like for some reason, I can't understand it. There's a Harley Quinn in that set that goes for like legit $250, and I don't know why. I can't.
Well, it's going to be what we talk about a lot with this entire show is why are things costing what they're costing? And maybe this has something a little to do with it, is something like the gift with purchase situation that we continue to run into, or the exclusives, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, right? That they're never released anywhere else. And that Harley Quinn is the exact same situation. She's not out there. Like, this is the only place you can get her. Or in that style with that print with blah, 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 is that set, right? So that's why she's that expensive. And we look at what happened with the Cerebro gift with purchase. Once again, Lego I don't understand what they're doing here. They don't have enough stock to cover the gift with purchases for a particular set beyond the early release for insiders. I still don't understand the logic behind this, because they're not holding anything back. We saw it with the Mimic set with the Dungeons and Dragons. We saw it recently with the Sail Barge and that Luke Skywalker lightsaber. And now, literally the very next one after that, not counting the Botanical Garden set, they sell out of this Cerebro gift with purchase in US and Australia before it ever hits release for the general public. Now, if you're not signed up for insiders at this point and it's free, what are you even doing? We talk about that all the time on this show. What are you even doing? Okay, it's easy. Sign up, get a fake email. Who cares? Whatever you got to do, get your gift with purchases. But why are they holding that stuff back, Brian? Why do they not allow more inventory for these things?
If you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you print off 50,000 of them. Let's say it's probably less than that. Print off 50,000, and historically, you know that you're gonna be able to sell off all of them because of the gift with purchase, based off of how quickly the other gift with purchases have come out with. From a business perspective, I would rather bank on the 50,000 immediately going, and literally factoring that into my fourth quarter projections in a weird way. Like, if the Mimic sold out, what's the name of the thing from the tower? Not the Tower of Orthanc. What Barad-dûr? What's the name of that thing?
Oh, the Fell Beast. Fell Beast. Yeah.
Historically, we know these things are going to sell. We know we're going to print off 50,000 of them. That's 50,000 X-Mansions gone in 3 days. Right? If you're them, that's your number. Whatever you need to hit, whatever you need to boost it, because you're going to sell it during Christmas time. You're going to sell it all through 2025 into 2026. Mm-hmm. That's what I would guess if I were a betting businessman. But again, who knows? So
this feeds into this idea of Lego and collectability and things like that. And then we start looking ahead, and I'm gonna challenge the viewers here. I want you all start thinking ahead. You can kind of see our list over here to the side. We're gonna get there, okay? But we want you to start thinking about it right now. What do you think is going to end up being that first $1,000 Lego set? We've gotten close. $850 US. We're talking US. Just for simplicity purposes, we're just going to be using US currency for this stuff. Okay, let's just make it easy on our
US currency, and $999.99 counts.
Yes, 999999999.
Yeah, we're not being like that.
So when you start seeing things like that, though, where you get these gift with purchases that help drive up demand and drive up collectability and things like that, that $1,000 set could actually happen because of some of the factors we're going to talk about here. And before we can get to the $1,000 set, we kind of got to look back and see where we've come from. So now we talked about the Lego Movie 2, right? The Apocalypseburg and Harley Quinn, $250 minifig, right? And that's just, dude, she's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all the craziness that can happen with Lego collectability and things like that. And when you see something like Cerebro, the Cerebro gift with purchase, and you see the Fell Beast gift with purchase, and you see these other things, these sets being bought up so quickly in those first couple of days, Do you think it's a direct result because of what we've seen now historically pre 2020 when the hobby exploded and all of a sudden people realized, oh, I need to be collecting Lego, right? Because now we get this retired list. The retired list has currently been updated again on Lego's website. So now you're seeing everything that's going to be gone, supposedly, according to Lego themselves now, what's going to be gone as of December 31st at midnight, right? So January 1st, everything gone, right? And there's more sets out there that are supposedly going to be on the chopping block as well. Do you think people are looking at these lists and going, oh, crud, but looking earlier on and saying, I need to grab these things and buying them quickly when there's these gift with purchases and getting multiple sets so they can turn around and get that I mean, everybody talked about it with the Luke lightsaber, right? Oh, you can buy Jabba's sail barge day one, and that lightsaber is going to pay for half of it when you resell it. That's what everybody was saying.
It is, but not immediately. So when you're maybe sound like a business shill. When you're looking at like, all right, you're going to buy Lego as an investment, purely as an investment. You're also not just factoring in the actual set, the price point, but then the amount of space it's occupying, which is why people really like gold, by the way, because you can just put it in a bar, you just have it sit there forever, right? I mean, realistically, right? If you
Lego's
want
more valuable than gold now, right? Isn't that what Wall Street says?
So if you're looking at it from that perspective, a shelf full of gift with purchases you got for free and held on to for a long period of time is going to take up the same amount of space as 2 or 3 sail barges that, doesn't have the same return on investment. So like from that standpoint, if you're a diehard, if you're me, and let's say you had more disposable income you can dedicate to Lego, you would buy everything as a set, put the gift with purchase into storage and just sit on it. Like half these gift with purchases I don't care about, but I actually like the set. Like if I wanted to buy the expansion, do I really care to have Cerebro? Not necessarily, so I can leave it in a box. So I think as everything gets commoditized, you're like, all right, there's people talking about it online, building up that hype, whatever. And unless everybody unanimously decides that Lego is worthless and stops buying it, then it will probably be worth something someday, especially in a box. This isn't Ty Beanie Babies and whatever else, right? This is totally different.
But do you think that this return on investment nowadays is as strong as it was before 2020?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always going to
people are overloading the market because they're buying up so much out of the gate, and because they've seen historically what Lego's been doing, right?
If people can't control themselves to not buy it on eBay the second it's done, that's on them. Like Lego, I don't think is producing any more to like warrant. They're not putting out more stuff because they're trying to combat resellers. That's not Lego's problem. If anything, it's a good thing for them because there's driving up demand and general brand interest. So they literally bought Bricklink because of that sentiment, and they can control the second largest platform in which they're selling a product secondhand, second to eBay. So it just makes all the sense in the world. Like they're not going to do anything else. I think you're going to keep having Lego come out with gift with purchases that are either good or great to drive you to get there day one above any other promotion, double points, holidays, or otherwise, get you in there immediately. But that's always going to be the case. People are going to hold on to this stuff. It's just how it is.
Well, some of the most expensive sets of all time currently right now that you can buy on the secondary market, they're all retired, of course, and that just skyrockets the price, or they had some kind of exclusivity to them, like the gift with purchases or like San Diego Comic-Con kind of things, which Lego has now kind of taken a step back from and said, well, we're not going to do it. Because as much as we like to think that they don't care about the secondary market, they seem to have kind of removed themselves from putting themselves in that position, because they have strategically been avoiding doing a San Diego Comic-Con or Comic-Con type exclusive since
I don't think those do as much for them as people give credit. I think the strategic gift with purchases, which you've seen appear more often, do. That's more effective on like a rarity, a false scarcity, exclusivity. You know, the pop stuff they have taught, like it's just an obnoxious amount of exclusive pops at all these different retailers and stuff. And there's enough variety in the product that like it gives you a reason to go there in person or buy it afterward. But like one minifigure, you know, you can get more attention long term by having a gift with purchase available on a wider market.
Right. I was shocked to learn what the internet claims to be the most expensive Lego set currently on the market.
What is that?
It is from 1978. It's set number 493-1. It was 173 pieces, Brian. It was the Lego Space Command Center. And it is valued at around $10,100. 173 pieces.
New, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah. I would say new in box and sealed would be my guess. That is absolute insanity that someone would even remotely consider spending that kind of money on plastic bricks. But, you know, the collectors out there, they do wild stuff, man. Collectors be collecting and they'd be doing wild things. The most expensive set that Lego has on the retail market is actually the UCS Millennium Falcon. It came out in 2017. Brian, this set has been out since 2000, and it has been on retiring lists over and over and over again.
Those don't know what they're talking about.
And it just stays on shelves, baby. Because first of all, they don't really have anything to replace it. Like when that set finally retires, it's also at the same price as the UCS AT-AT, which is another Star Wars. We're seeing a trend here, right? Licensing fees. But it has more pieces than the UCS AT-AT, which is why it's valued higher, apparently, even though it's the exact same $849.99 USD. When that set goes, which the AT-AT is currently on the chopping block this year too, apparently. We'll see how that goes. When that set goes, there's nothing behind it. Like, that's a huge gap in price after that goes away. If both of those sets go away at some point, there's nothing living out there that can come close to it, which is crazy to think about. So with those sets there, our idea of $1,000 Lego set is a little bit more reasonable because we're only $150 off, right? With those sets gone, now we start seeing a much larger gap. And is Lego thinking maybe we can't hit that, hit that number, but could, in fact, inflation have played some part in making that number go up or making those sets go up? Now, when it comes to inflation, Lego really hasn't been affected by it too much. They were taking it on the chin for years and years and years. As material costs were going up, they were remaining pretty consistent, at least on paper. Okay. And the way a lot of AFOLs look at it is that price per piece count, right? Okay, so what does it take? Now, larger sets tend to fluctuate that a little bit, but they did do a major price increase back in 2022, and man, you would have thought the sky was falling. You remember that back in 2022, man? My goodness, you would have thought the sky was falling. You would have thought the world was ending for AFOL fans out there hearing all these prices jumping. Is Lego really being affected by inflation, or are they being strategic with it?
I think if their earnings go up, number go up, line go up, then is it not? Is it? I think as long as people keep buying it, then Lego doesn't have a reason to adjust the course. Otherwise, I think you're getting less stuff per box in a lot of ways. Like I think sometimes you're looking at what is there, and you're just not seeing the value of it. When it comes to
they bucked the trend with Galaxy Explorer, right? So they released the OG, or they released an anniversary edition of the Galaxy Explorer, and we kept saying when we saw it, when we were building it, everything, everybody that was building it was like, this is the best value Lego set I've ever seen in my life. And when you looked at it, I don't know if that was even strategic or if it was just a product of all the stars aligning, right? It was a Lego brand. They didn't have any extra licensing fees associated with it. They didn't have to, it didn't seem like anyway, have to create any really specific or magical pieces that made this thing up or what, like it just, I'm trying to look at it while you were talking. Like they have some printed pieces on it and things like that, but it's like, it was a redo of the OG set. But when you look at that 1,254 piece set at $100, that was only an 8 cent per piece set. The original that it was modeled after is 9 cents. So they actually went down in the price per piece count. So again, you start talking about inflation, you're like, well, wait a minute, wait. Like they went the opposite direction. And we've seen that with some other sets as well. But then obviously there are sets that really go against all of that. Apparently, I'm not this type of person. I'm not this type of AFOL. I'm not this type of Lego collector. But apparently, a lot of those collectors look at like the 10-cent margin. Have you heard about this? Yeah. Like that's kind of where their sweet spot is for sets. So that obviously was well below. But oh my God, then you get into this price per piece thing, and you start looking at that, and you're trying to figure out, okay, like what, I can't buy sets like that. That's not who I am. I buy sets because if I like it, if it brings me joy or whatever, if I have an emotional connection to it, that's how I collect my Lego, is that if I find something cool. I rarely ever look at the statistics associated with said set. I'm really bad when it comes about measuring and things. Like I don't even measure the sets. And then I'm like scurrying around my house trying to figure out where I'm going to put my sets when they're done. And I'm assuming you're the same way. You don't look at this price per piece thing. So
not at all.
But that's where you start looking at these larger set versus smaller sets when it comes to the price per piece. And boy, you be taking it on the chin sometimes with these smaller sets. And the X-Jet is the one that stands out to me right now. Holy guacamole. X-Jet, that hoopty, the Marvel one. Again, there's a Marvel tax. There's a Disney tax associated with it. That X-Jet's coming in at 23 cents per piece compared to the UCS Falcon, which is 11 cents. So it's like you're getting a bulk discount. How does that work?
I just don't think you're getting a good value for the stuff that you have in the box, dude. Like if you can just eyeball a set and think, okay, is this worth the $90 for the X-Jet? It never has been, it never will be, unless you really love X-Men and that's the only thing you get. And you call it a day. I never look at price to part ratios. I never do any of that. I think if you factored that in, obviously the Lego art sets would be the best value of anything you could get ever. And that's a difference in its own right. I look at, what brings me joy. I look at what you're getting in terms of exclusivity with minifigures. You're getting a complete package. The Galaxy Explorer being one of those, like, yes, this is a complete package. And, I think Lego is trying to like defer the cost across different SKUs. So maybe the Daily Bugle is a great price. Meanwhile, the Hoopty, this Marvel's movie, which we're pretty sure is going to flop. Okay, we're going to mark that to $90 and then we're going to can it and we're going to retire it and it's done, right? Basically what happened, right? So maybe that has something to do with some of those decisions. I have no idea. But I think if you judge a Lego set solely based on it being a 10-cent part or these criteria, you're being way too analytical about it. It ain't all about that. You need to focus on what is going to bring you satisfaction when you unbox it and build it for yourself, man.
And that's what I keep looking at with the X Mansion, which we have beat to death, man. This thing is, we're beating this horse. Where's the pricing model coming from? How are they figuring this stuff up? Like, who are they just spinning a wheel and throwing a dart? Like, where's the logic there? Have they ever come clean on where the pricing model comes from?
No, I think that's just core fundamental business stuff that you'll never hear about. Like, it doesn't, I don't think it perturbs anybody in any sort of affiliated network to like talk to people in real life and say, hey, why is this price the way it is? More so, they're talking to the people designing the set. They don't really have a say in what that is. Maybe there's a budget associated with it where they have to play within it, but like they don't make the final call. And like, if you're there talking with this person, you're going to talk about the exclusive figure and the build and the whatever. You're not going to be concerned about hard-hitting journalism in that way.
I know, and that's the hard-hitting journalist in myself, where I want to ask the designer, okay, how does that work? So they come to you with a budget, which we know that's how that happens. So they say, we want to do this. This is your budget. Go. Does the designer then have a little bit of leeway to be like, I can make this set, but I've got to do it this way, which goes beyond your pricing model here? Right. Yeah. By $50 or whatever, $20, $50. What's that buffer, right? What's that accordion that they have to, as a designer, to I want to ask a designer that question so bad. I don't know if they're allowed to tell me, but man, I want to know, because that's the stuff that some of us, especially as AFOLs and people that are spending adult money on, really kind of want answers to. We want to know why is this set costing this when I can get, why is X costing this when I can get Z for this, which is $20 more, but way more pieces. And then all of a sudden that price per piece ratio drops significantly, right? Compared to something, that's got 200 pieces versus something that's got 500 pieces. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just double the piece count, the price per piece, it drops. They obviously have been they've been called to task a couple times on possibly piece padding the sets a little bit, where they take they take multiple blocks or multiple plates that equal up to one single block or one single whatever. And then they start going, wait a minute, now you're just kind of like raising the piece count a little bit to make that price per piece count a little bit easier to swallow. But really, you could have just done it with this piece alone by itself. We didn't need this. But then the designer's coming back, or Lego's coming back, saying, well, we're more sophisticated now, and we have, we're able to show more detail in the sets, and we're able to, sometimes those lines, those separation lines, help bring the detail across. It's no different than, when you go see a animator, back when I was a kid, you'd go see an animated film, the shading and the lining was all deep and dark and, had more contrast to it and everything than you saw on television, right? That was, all they were darkening lines and adding more contrast. Like, that's all it was. But by God, it made it look like $1 million more bucks, didn't it? It looked so much better when they were doing that stuff. And that's no different than Lego taking these tiny little pieces and these tiny plates and adding them all. And then you see all those separation lines. You're like, yeah, man, look at all the detail on the outside of this house. No, it's all it is lines, bro. Like, all you're seeing is separation. That's all it is. But man, it made you feel like they actually, because it feels tactile, it feels lived in. It feels like somebody actually stood there and put the bricks together, put the blocks in, put the pieces of wood in, whatever. And they're taking advantage of that kind of stuff. But it is padding the piece count a little bit. So, who knows? But this all leads into the major meat of our conversation and the big thing that we really want to talk about. And I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get into this, because I feel like we have a fun way to do this, Brian. I feel like we got a fun way. I feel like we got a fun way to do this. We could inevitably see our first $1,000 Lego set in the next, I'm going to be generous and say 5 years. Do you think we're going to see it before that or after that?
Before.
You think before? What's your timeline? Tell me your timeline. Give it to me, baby.
They will announce it in 2026 for 27.
Wow. Okay. So basically 2 years.
I think 2 years.
2 years. Is this going to be like a monumental occasion? And it's the
No.
you think
No.
are they just going to try to slip it out there? Like, what do you? We're not even getting into what set it may be, right? We're going to get into that in a second. But
I think Lego has been testing the water for a long time.
Explain yourself.
And they've tested with the Millennium Falcon. They've tested it with the Atat. And they're like, how far can we push these buttons? And I think they are the Brian Saviano to that spicy redhead, looking from across the bar, right? Really want to say something, talking with Zach and talking with whoever, saying she's meaning the $1,000 price point is beautiful. Oh my goodness, she's Italian. She can cook. She's got short. She's got it all going on. She wants a full-fledged family, right? The way she speaks. Oh, it's beautiful. This is beautiful. She's beautiful. And I don't have the matzo balls to go up and do it, right? So I think they're gonna timidly be like, excuse me, my lady, and then try to approach the situation very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say or do the one wrong thing, you're botching the whole thing. Because there's absolutely 1,000% gonna be the IGN, the Kotaku, the ABC News, the whoever, the world's first $1,000 Lego set. They are going to receive so much negative press from that happening unanimously across the board. Mattel has done stuff like this where it's like an exclusive, blah, 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 on store shelves making the thing happen. They're going to get pushback from everywhere. Who in their right? Who in their, give me the sound effect here. Who in their in mind would spend $1,000 on a toy? You're an idiot. That's absolutely what's going to happen. So when they do it, they're going to have to be very tactical in that they're going to showcase the set. They're going to whatever. And the price is going to be the last line of the press release, the last line. And they're going to hope that everything they've showcased leading up to that moment is going to be worth their price tag. That's what's going to happen.
So just so we're completely clear here, it's not even a question of if they're going to.
Whoa, absolutely.
It's a question of when. Okay.
If they release what the Millennium Falcon go for, $850.
It's currently $850, $849.99.
They did a price increase from $799 to $850, right? With 2022.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
You give it till 2027. You could argue that could have sat at 1,000. I think it'll retire before then. I think it'll retire. I don't think
it. But the thing is too is like what we've proved. That's why I wanted to go through this list first before we got there. Is that inflation hasn't really touched them too much, except for 2022 when they did a price increase and they claimed materials and stuff like that, right? So I'm that's why I'm saying 5 years, because I'm giving them longer, because I'm still on the fence of whether or not we actually will get $1,000 Lego set.
The reality of 3 years ago, they couldn't justify a Jabba sail barge at $500. But the reality of 2024, they can.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sail barge at $500. Now, the sail barge, as much as I have the nostalgia for it, it's in one scene of one movie for 10 minutes.
It's a boring ship. It's a boring build.
It's all brown. It is blown up by the end of it. It ain't coming back, right? So the AT-AT has been around in different stuff. So has the Millennium Falcon, certainly. That could have justified being $1,000 if they never did it before. They never did it.
Which we'll get to that. So So you're in the camp of we will get one eventually. I'm in the camp of I don't think we will, but if we do, it's going to be longer than what Brian is talking about. Here's the way I want to approach this, Brian. This is why I'm giving us as much time on our little counter here as possible. I want to go through their themes, their current themes. This could change in 2 years.
You don't even need to.
3 years or what?
You don't need to.
You don't need. So you're going straight to the bottom of the list. You think?
No, the top.
the
Sorry,
top.
no,
Of the list.
explain it.
Go explain what you're talking about. I was going
It's
to
going to
go
be a
through
Star
those.
Wars set. It's
You
Star
think
Wars.
it's going to be a Star Wars set? See,
100%.
I thought it was. Obviously, there are a lot of these themes that I could, because they're all listed alphabetically. Like I thought.
What do you think it could be? What do you think it could be?
I think it could be Technic.
That'd be stupid.
I think it could be Technic.
That'd be really stupid.
Because of the advancement in Technic and what they can do with it from motorization and everything.
Stupid.
Hey, man, like I'm not much of a Technic guy. I built my first Technic set this year, right? And I had a blast. It was dope. It was cool.
Okay, so I think my gut check reaction is the correct public opinion. When they come out with the $1,000 Lego set, if it were Technic, and they made a big press release out of it and blah, 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 and then the last line was the price, court of public opinion would say, that's stupid. That's not worth $1,000.
Dude, the Technic people would love that. If it was
the
a
Technic
special...
people are half of a purpose. I'm talking the court of public opinion on Kotaku and all these other blogs. Where this is I'm not talking about Lego people. They are a top, not even like a sliver of a percent.
Hold on. What?
A sliver.
Let me cook. Okay. What large format sets do they make that are replicated in life-size scale on a regular basis? Technic. Okay. They be making cars like crazy, right? And if you could advance the technology anywhere in the next 3 to 5 years in those Technic builds to do some really, really special things, you could make that $1,000.
I don't disagree, but that can't be the first $1,000 set. It can't be. Because it's boring.
To you?
To the public. There are people, you haven't worked at a Lego store. I hate to pull that card. I really hate to pull this card. But you haven't seen the husband of two young kids walk in and have the conversation with the wife about how amazing it would be to have the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon, not the Gutenberg Technic Schlakugi Doogie 683 car. That's not the conversation they have.
Hey man, they just signed, they just signed a deal with F1.
I don't care.
Maybe it's this new
your made up F1 drama that you people obsess over.
They got to pay for those driver's licenses, right? Like they got to get all the license for all the individual drivers. They got to make $1,000 set.
Fun.
I agree with you that the easy solution is a Star Wars set. As far as debate goes, you're gonna apply a Disney tax, you're gonna apply a Star Wars tax, like you have licensing fees there, right? But what the heck do you make, dude? What is the set that you make out of?
It's easy.
What?
It's a giant play scale Death Star with the panels on the sides that you can put on it.
Okay, so
it's huge. It'd be like,
I said that on one of our last shows. I said, give me a Death Star that could be converted into a Death Star 2. You could build it
I don't need to do that.
It's just paneling, baby. You just take out sections, right? I know these designers can make this happen, and it's just sections.
Here's what you do. No, here's what you do. You have all the different modules for all the different scenes, right?
Right.
But for Death Star 2, it's all one attached module, right? You click it in. But then, because it's all just like, lines coming out of it, really. It's just a bunch of lines.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just extra paneling.
But then you can open that. And then you can see the inside of the core with the Falcon in it. And like, there's a little mini diorama scene.
You have to make it that special. Like, you have to.
Yes. How cool would that be at $1,000? That'd be come on. Sick. You tell me some Technic Shoogie Doogie is going to take its place?
Because the current iteration of the one that retired, like, what was it, 5 years ago? There was one that retired.
Like that, yeah. It was just a remaster of the one that came out in 2008.
Right. And this is also the second basic UCS Falcon as well that we have currently on there, because there was another one in 2007, I think. So, I don't see him doing another Falcon Like, I don't see them retiring the Falcon and doing another Falcon, because I feel like this is kind of the end all be all Falcon. Like, this is a pretty sick. I've got it over my shoulder over here. It's pretty sick Falcon, and they did a lot, and it's perfect. But the Death Star that they had is not much. Like, it's kind of like Cloud City, right? Like, it's kind of like I still can't get over that Cloud City, the original Cloud City, goes for as much as it goes for.
Cloud City is the Death Star. The Death Star came first. We're like. They did Cloud City in that way because they saw the success with Death Star, and that first Cloud City goes for a stupid amount of money because of that Boba Fett. That's why they did that.
Right. But that's like those style sets, though, those bigger play sets that they've done, like they're gross, dude. They're not like good. They're not good.
Well, that's why you put the panels on the side of it and make it a complete looking model. So if you look at the box of it, you're like, oh, but then you turn it around, you're like, oh, you have to have give me the sound effect.
Okay.
You have to have a ton of minifigures in it.
Yes.
In order to make it special.
And that's why, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I feel like you have to do, they did it similar with the current Falcon, where you have like the sequel trilogy version and you have the original trilogy version of it, right? It's not much to change. It's not going to be like
it's a radar dish. That's it.
It's a radar dish. And the figures, you have multiple figures that cover the two different eras, right? In order to hit $1,000, even at current inflation prices and things like that, you have to make that set so big and so special for people to justify pulling the trigger on it, that you have to make it convertible somehow. You have to make it a way to be a 2-in-1. You have to.
You have to do that. You have to include 30% more minifigures than the Bugle, and they can't be filler. They have to be...
You can give me some Imperial officers and stormtroopers, and you can give it, that's
don't give me 4 versions of Luke in the 20 minifigures we get total, is what I mean. Like, they have to be a serviceable amount more minifigures.
Give me 2. You could actually probably give me 3. You could actually probably give me 3, because you could give me Luke, in his stormtrooper outfit. You give me Luke in his original outfit, and then you could give me Return of the Jedi Luke. Like, give me all 3 and the same thing with Han Solo. You can give me 2 versions with Han. But Chewie, you're giving me 1. Leia, you're giving me 1. You know what I mean? Darth Vader, you're giving me 1. Emperor, you're giving me 1. But there's a lot of, I want to recreate that Emperor scene and have, the little shuttle and all the minifigs standing outside of it and stuff like that. Like, I want cool stuff like that. I don't know, man.
You have a $1,000 Death Star and worth $80. Darth Vader's TIE Fighter to go with it as a gift of purchase.
Like a little... Oh, you mean like an actual minifig scale TIE Fighter?
Or something. You have, or you have a set. It comes with like 3 different ships. What are the 3 most iconic ones? Darth Vader's TIE, X-Wing,
Falcon.
No, Shuttle Tidarium.
Well, if you were going to do Return of the Jedi, you would do the Shuttle Tidarium. Well, you would do that Imperial shuttle, potentially, kind of a thing. And I just don't know how you fit all that inside there. You had 1,000. Like, that's a lot to try to cram in there, unless you start doing micro scale, like inside there.
You make a micro scale. You make them like, a Vader's TIE would be this big.
Yeah.
And you include 3 ships. So in a way, you could put them floating around the Death Star. So when you spin it, it's like they're like going around them.
Mm-hmm.
Just hire me, Lego. What are we doing? Like,
I mean, again, easy. I think the idea is there. I agree with the idea. I just don't know.
In your professional opinion, could anything else be $1,000 set besides Technic?
Looking at this list, absolutely not. Like, because that's where I was starting at the top with architecture. I was like, no. Batman, no. Botanical, no. Brickhead, no. Like, I was looking at Harry Potter, no. I was just looking through.
Batman, you could do a really killer Batcave Wayne Manor, but they would sell it as 2 separate sets. They couldn't get away with it.
Not at $1,000. You can't get away with it at $1,000. And Lord of the Rings, you can't get. I was really hoping for like a Minas Tirith or something like that, like a nice giant, big, Minas Tirith set for Lord of the Rings.
No.
I don't, I just don't think you can get away with it at $1,000. Star Wars is the only IP that they have that could get away with it. Technic is the other license, like the other theme that they have that I feel like you could get away. Those are the only two out of all of their themes. You can't do an idea set at $1,000. You cannot do an architecture set at $1,000. You can't do an art set at $1,000. Like, you can't do these things at $1,000. And I don't think you can even do Star Wars that way unless you make it a Death Star that's converted to a Death Star 2, depending on how you want to display it at $1,000. Like, hey, that's the only way you're getting it. I just don't see. I think, to me, I still say the logical choice is, my heart says Star Wars, my brain says Technic.
No, because I can see that bad press release coming out right now, and Lego doesn't want that.
I can see the bad press release at $1,000 for a Star Wars set.
No, but if you make a sick looking Death Star, like I'm talking, like I want a Death Star that makes the Millennium Falcon look like a piece of. That's what I want. That's what I want, dude.
I would love that.
I would not that I would spend $1,000 on.
My wife wouldn't love that.
Yeah, well, you literally just said the reaction that I have heard in the Lego in real time, Zach. Real time. This is what happens. Like that is the target demographic for $1,000 Star Wars.
Here's the deal. I feel like the only way you sell this to the public without a massive backlash is if you give us ample opportunity to be ready to buy it. Like,
That's why I said yes.
Don't drop it. Don't give it to us 2 weeks before it drops and say,
can't do that.
There's an exclusive gift with purchase you can only get if you buy it, because then that goes back to everything we've been talking about. All these other collectors are going to go out and snatch them up so they can resell them or whatever. You know, we're still waiting. We're in November. We still haven't got a release date on the official Black Friday set yet that we all know that's coming out. They can't do this stuff. They can't. They have to. If you're going to release $1,000 set, you have to give the public enough notice. And when I mean enough, I'm talking like, give me 4 months notice that it's coming out.
Am I right with this? No, I think I am not right. In 2027, A New Hope will be 60.
It'd be 77 is when it came out.
To be 60. Not 50.
No.
60.
No. In 2027?
Yeah.
No, it'd be 50. Oh!
Put me on the payroll. Put me on the payroll, you cowards.
Wait,
you cowards.
When have they ever done something
for
timely?
$1,000 Lego set? Come on.
When have they ever been timely?
It's written in the stars.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Are you serious?
We've already proven they don't have calendars in Denmark.
No, but for the $1,000 Lego set.
I would almost put money. I want nothing more than that to be true.
I would almost put money on it. The 50th anniversary of A New Hope is on May 25th. You're telling me they're not gonna have a big, everybody come out to New York. We're gonna have all our land members. We're gonna cut a ribbon. We're gonna have a big activation. We're gonna come on. Give it to me. Actually, I don't want it, but like. And then after you make all that money on that, give me my castle, okay? Castle, Peach's castle. You're welcome for the free marketing I've given you, people in Denmark. You're welcome.
Good Lord. Well, there you go. Somebody for somehow, some way, get a calendar in Denmark so they know that the 50th anniversary of A New Hope is happening in 2027, and what a perfect opportunity for them to release their very first $1,000 Lego set. Oh my God. We need to start saving money now. We need to start saving money now for it. Mr. Bricks O'Brien, thank you so much for a fantastic show. Dude, once again, you just absolutely kill it. I love doing these shows with you. Thank you so much. Back live next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Be here or be square, or just check us out on the podcast channels like Apple Podcasts, like Spotify. Don't forget to do all the YouTube things like and subscribe over here on this channel. Make sure you check out that son of a gun over on his Twitch channel or anywhere else you can find him on the internet at Bricks O'Brien. You can find me, Zach M. Rutledge, anywhere on the internet. That's all we've got for this episode of ZMB Live, the Unfiltered Lego Podcast. Mr. Bricks O'Brien, last thoughts on $1,000 Lego set?
Get ready, baby, and cut me a check.
There it is. Bye!